Hello, my beautiful friend. It's Betsy Gutting. Welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to talk with you about the Libra full moon. This is the last full moon before eclipse season. We have a Taurus solar eclipse, brand new beginnings in Taurus, April 30th. So this Libra full moon wants to help us clear the way. It's supporting us to come more in integrity with our souls, so we have the energy, the time, the resources, the inspiration that we need to launch whatever we want to go full force on with that first solar eclipse of 2022. So I'm going to talk about how can you navigate these energies, what to expect, and I am going to pull a card for every sign. I'm going to do a reading for all 12 signs, so be sure you listen for your sun, moon, and your rising signs because they all are a piece of the puzzle, a piece of the full picture for you. Before you go to your readings, be sure you listen to the intro about this full moon where I talk about how to work with the energies. And if you're new to me, I want to say hi and welcome. I am an intuitive life coach, a psychic astrologer, and I love helping you tune into whatever is calling you, whatever is calling to your heart, what you want to manifest, what you want to bring into the world, how you want to shift your life. So I will leave links to my astrology consultations as well as my soul alchemy coaching in the description box below if you would like more support. Okay, so let's get into this full moon in Libra. First of all, the full moon is happening April 16th at 11:57 a.m. Pacific time, 2:57 p.m. Eastern time, and 6:57 Universal time. So be sure you adjust the time for wherever you are on the planet. And I love your comments. I love hearing from you. Let me know where you're tuning in from. It's so much fun to connect. Now, this full moon is happening at 26 degrees of Libra, 26 degrees of Libra. So you want to look at your natal astrology chart and see where is 26 degrees of Libra for you, which house, because that house corresponds to the area of life that is going to be affected for you in this full moon. And of course, I'll talk about which house is happening for all the 12 signs when I do the 12 sign readings. It's also interesting to look at where you may have planets or points in Libra. Why? Because if you have planets or points in your natal astrology chart in Libra between 22 and 29 degrees, 22 and 29 degrees of Libra, if you have planets or points there, you will feel this full moon in Libra more intensely. Also, if you have planets or points between 22 and 29 degrees of any of the other cardinal signs, Cancer, Capricorn, or Aries, you will also feel this full moon more intensely. So let's talk for a moment about Libra energy. For every full moon, it's a time of release. It's a time of releasing something, letting go of something. Often it's when we get an aha. It's when we get a new download, a new illumination about something. It's preparing us to take in the new energy of the new moon that is coming next. And in this case, as I said, it's an eclipse, so that's really big. It's clearing us. It wants us to do a clearing out. Now, with a full moon in Libra, we are focused on relationships. We are wanting to be more social. Libra is an air sign. It loves communicating. It loves connecting. It loves intimacy. Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is pleasure, is money, is joy, is delight, is hugging and kissing, it's making love. Like Venus wants all those yummy pleasures of life. So here we have this full moon in Libra, and Libra is also about balance. It's about harmony. Wherever you have Libra in your natal astrology chart, you don't want conflict. In fact, you may avoid conflict. You just want it to be joyful. You just want harmony. You just want peace. Libra wants inner peace within their relationships. Libra is the scales in astrology. It's the scales. It's the scales of justice. So it's where fairness is very important to us. So this is going to be on our minds during this full moon in Libra, is what feels fair to me? What is there a relationship where something's going on that doesn't feel fair, that doesn't feel just, that feels out of balance? This will probably really come up for you. Now, Libra is all about beauty as well. Libra loves to beautify. It's the sign of the artist. So our creativity, your creativity may also be really inspired and ignited during this time. Now, across from the moon in Libra, we have the sun in Aries. The sun in Aries is a very different energy. It's a fire sign. It's our get up and go. It's ruled by Mars. It's very self-oriented, where Libra is very we-oriented and what's going on with the other person and what do you need and how can I care for you and are you okay? Do you need a jacket? Do you need a coat? Are you too hot? Do you need some water? This is Libra. On the other side is Aries, which is the I am energy. It's where we get an idea and inspiration, we get ignited, where our hearts are on fire with new possibility. It's the Fool in the tarot deck. We just had the new moon in Aries. So it's very likely that you may be feeling like there's something new that you want to do. There's a change you might want to make, a positive change. You're hoping it will bring positive change, and it may feel scary. It may feel like a risk. It may feel like you would really be taking a leap. Leap and the net will appear, as we say. It may really feel like that to you. And so with this full moon in Libra, we're balancing this I know what I need. I know where we may feel a little bit more self-focused with the focus on the other, with the focus on our relationships. We're balancing these two right now. Every full moon tells a story, but in order to know what is the story of this full moon, what is it supporting me to do, how is this full moon directing me forward, we have to go back to the new moon in Libra. The new moon in Libra happened October of 2021, October 6th to be exact. And you may have felt that new moon in Libra energy having to do with relationships anywhere between September and November. So during that October 2021 new moon in Libra, you may have had a relationship upset, a painful truth come to light, something where there was a schism in a relationship maybe. Maybe it was Pluto was involved, and so it may have felt very scary to you. It may have brought up a lot of subconscious fears. You may have been afraid of losing the relationship. It's possible that the relationship ended, or it's possible that you were able to repair whatever the distance was that happened during that time. But it was a time when we really came to terms with something happening in at least one of our relationships, and it would have been big for you. It would have felt big, and maybe even like a big surprise or even a shock to your system, and maybe even heartbreaking for you. After that new moon in Libra, Venus went into retrograde. Why is this important? Because Venus rules Libra. Venus is the planet that we feel in all of our relationships, right? And Venus went into retrograde. So Venus took a deep dive and went backwards, connected with Pluto, and basically we had a big clearing out in terms of all things Venusian. So it would have been, things to do with your money, relationships for sure, your heart, the divine feminine. Venus is our divine feminine energy. And with Venus retrograde, we really came to terms with our own self-honoring, our own self-respect, where we had abandoned ourselves, where we were not fully taking care of ourselves. So it was a big self-love upgrade. And I have a whole video on that. If you want to go back and watch that, I'll link it below. But this was a time that we really shifted within ourselves and opened up to receiving more, to better treatment, for example, in our relationships, where we're like, I don't like the way I'm being treated in this relationship. This is, like I said, it could have even been a shock or like a really difficult time in a relationship where you were just like, maybe even floored by what was going on and very saddened and very hurt possibly. However, during that Venus retrograde period, we shifted our values. We realized we can no longer abandon ourselves for another person. We need to let go of any codependent behaviors where we were giving too much of ourselves or giving ourselves away, or where you may have realized that you were no longer in vibration, in alignment with a specific person or people in your life, where perhaps you decided to let go of a relationship, or you saw some relationships fade out of your life, or after that Venus retrograde, you may have reconciled with people, but from a whole new place of strength and integrity within yourself. So here we are now. We've been through all of that. Our inner Venus, and Venus is ruling this full moon in Libra, our inner Venus is now stronger than ever. She respects herself more than ever. She wants to open up to receive more than she's ever received before in her life. She has an awareness of what abundance is for her in a new way. All of us are experiencing this. Why is this important with the Libra full moon? Because this is a check-in point. It's like we're going back to that moment, perhaps within a relationship. You may have a relationship trigger come up during this full moon. Pluto is squaring the full moon, and this is where the relationship trigger may happen. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. Pluto makes us see truths that we haven't seen before. Pluto can feel like a smack in the face. I can't sugarcoat it. It may feel that way, but it is transformational. It is growth producing. When you come out of a Pluto moment, wow, your eyes are open brighter than they have ever been before, wider than they've ever been before, and you cannot go back to who you were before. You are stronger, you're more resilient, you are more ready than ever to take on the next thing that your heart desires. So Pluto is making a square to this full moon in Libra, which means we may feel some tension. We may feel some pressure to have a conversation, for example. And I want to give you an example. So I want to give you an example of how this might happen for you, depending on where this is happening in your chart. So for me, this full moon in Libra is happening in my fourth house of home, And I have had recently this issue surrounding a neighbor, an issue with my neighbor. Now, I love my neighbor. He's been nothing but helpful to me. We live in very close quarters. We've got 2 duplexes with a common courtyard. And, we live just feet away from each other. And it's kind of like a little family that we have, okay? Which is fourth house too, it's family. However, my neighbor, who's been my friend since I moved in, super helpful to me, has a new girlfriend. And his new girlfriend has a cat. And this cat, and I have a cat as well, very important to tell you. And my cat and this cat do not get along. Not only do they not get along, but my cat, who's an indoor cat, and she kind of stalks my windowsills, walks around and makes sure she's safe and all of that inside of my apartment. She sees this outdoor cat, my neighbor's girlfriend's cat, and freaks out. I mean, she freaks out. She knocks things over. You know how their tails get really big and they like hunch up, and she's like terrified of this cat, terrified. So recently I went away, I did a little bit of traveling, and I came home, and my screen, my kitchen window screen, was completely torn up and ravaged, and my window was closed. So it was happening from the outside. And yes, it was our new neighbor cat who was trying to get in to get my cat. Now, I can't project anything onto this cat and know what this cat was trying to do, but clearly we have an issue here because this cat is damaging my stuff, like damaged my screen, right? But here's what I want to tell you that I think is so interesting that you might be able to relate to. What was my response as an empath, a highly sensitive person who pretty much thinks of everyone else and their needs first? Would be me. My response was, there's nothing that I can do. Like this sucks, but really what am I gonna do? I was not claiming my power when I first thought about this at all. I was not claiming my power. I wasn't thinking about what steps can I take. I did speak with the neighbor. I did show him the damage on the screen. I did say, we need to come up with a solution, but what's important, what I realized about myself, the aha moment that I had, the light bulb that went off in my head, thanks to talking this over with a friend, was I was wanting to just keep our relationship all copacetic and all lovely and not ask him for anything and I was even afraid to, tell that cat to like get away, tell that cat to get out of our space, right? Which is probably what's going to have to happen, But I was afraid because I was so concerned about treading lightly with my neighbor and not having him not like me, upsetting our relationship. And this is something that every single one of us may go through, where in Libra energy, we are prone to people pleasing. We're prone to putting the other person first. We're prone to shrinking down and not even knowing what our needs are. What are your needs in whatever situation that is coming up for you or comes up for you during this full moon in Libra? Ask yourself, what do I need? What are my needs? Because it's safe for you to have needs. You do have needs, and it is important for you to take care of your own needs. This is where our inner child can then feel safe. Every single one of us has an inner child that needs to feel safe and secure. And this is how we're being prepared for the rest of this year, for the Taurus eclipse, is bringing in a new sense of security and safety to our inner child. It's the reparenting process that probably you're familiar with. Many of us have been doing for many years now, right? The inner child does not feel safe when we're leaking out our energy, trying to make other people feel better, trying not to ruffle anyone's feathers, people pleasing, walking on eggshells, so that no one else is upset by the fact that we have needs. We all have needs. And what this full moon is doing is giving us an opportunity to communicate those needs. Uranus, the planet of liberation and freedom, is conjunct Mercury, the planet of communication. This conjunction, this pairing of Uranus and Mercury, I think is going to help us to express what we need to express. It may come through very quickly. You may want to pause and make sure that you don't express something in a way that you don't intend to, that you are in true Libra form. You're diplomatic, you are calm, you are, articulate about how you express it, but you also factor yourself in. You also express your own needs. You also express what you want, and you hold the other person accountable where that is important. We also have the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces that I have a whole separate video on that I encourage you to watch if you haven't already, but this is an influx of unconditional loving energy. This is us imagining our ideal day, our ideal life, and going for it. And this is us having a sense of faith and hope, renewed hope and faith, that we can have what we want, even though it may be something you've never done before. It may be a brand new chapter for you. It may feel so scary, as I said initially, about, the Aries new moon and what we're being, maybe having to take a risk to say yes to. But this is beautiful, sparkling yes energy. And Venus is now in Pisces. Venus now in Pisces is such a good thing because, again, Libra full moon is ruled by Venus. It's in Pisces. Pisces is an unconditionally loving energy. So the message that I got from Spirit about this is we also may need to do some forgiveness, have compassion for the other person involved in whatever comes up for you during this full moon. Self-forgiveness, forgiveness of the other. We may be releasing a whole childhood situation that has caused us a lot of pain and that's kept us feeling small. I remember when I was a kid how my dad was, very, could be very stern, definitely wore the pants, as we say in the family. He could even come across sometimes as a tyrant. and I would often, kind of shrink back and hide when my parents were fighting. I was really scared. And so, our coping mechanism for a lot of us, subconscious, may still be shrinking back whenever there's something, whenever someone else seems to have more power, whenever they seem to have more leverage, whenever we're afraid that they have more power, they're going to get their way, and we may not. Instead of shrinking back this time, we have the chance to break that pattern, to break that dynamic where and you may want to speak with a friend, you may want to get support from a coach like myself, so that you can express your needs. Throat chakra is very much involved with this full moon. We are upgrading our throat chakra. We're raising the energy of our throat chakra. And I feel there's a heart opening with this. I feel that there's real potential for us to have a breakthrough, to break through the glass ceiling of our own assertiveness and do it in a way that feels good, where we can find a win-win solution for everybody. So this is preparing us to go into eclipse season. This is preparing you for the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, which is an upgrade of everything to do with our physical, tangible life. It's an upgrade of our resources. It's an upgrade of just our comforts and our pleasure and feeling safe in our lives. And again, whole different video on that I will do for you. And this is very important. During this full moon in Libra, you may release something very important to you that you don't want to let go of, but it's kind of like the writing is on the wall, especially if the other person in the relationship with you just doesn't feel like, and this could be any relationship. This is not just committed partnerships, you know, lovers, romantic partners, significant others, you know, marriage partners. This is not just that. This could be a parent-child relationship. This could be a best friendship. This could be a co-worker relationship, a boss and an employee relationship. It could be any relationship like that, any place where you feel some sense of commitment and care for the other person, or they feel it for you. You may get the aha, the illumination that something is really changing in that relationship, that you no longer can keep the role that you've had, that you're letting go of a role. This Pluto and Capricorn square, Pluto and Capricorn is all about what roles we play in the world. And so you may have to shift your view of yourself and what you always thought you would do, what you've always been committed to. And I want to say, if you feel some conflict around that, that would be very natural right now to feel like, I don't know, I always thought I was going to do this. I always thought that I would live here with these people. I always thought that, you know, this person or this role would be my first priority. And yet your soul may be saying, it's time to let it go. Your soul has another mission, another purpose, another marching order for you. You may be relocated physically or, you know, in a different way in your life. So if this comes up and you need support, make sure you get support for that, because that can be one of the hardest things when we're letting go of a role that we always thought we would have in our lives. And I'm here to support you with that as well. So be sure to check out my website, my coaching, and my astrology readings if you'd like more support with something that you are feeling you need to let go of. Okay, so let's do the 12 sign readings. Be sure to listen for your sun, your moon, and your rising, because they all fill out a piece of the picture for you. Starting with Libra. This full moon is happening in your first house, Libra, my dear Libras, your first house of identity, how you see yourself in the world. Your role, your status, your self-image, and your appearance, also your style. You might be changing up your style. You might be going from a job to your own business where you can wear whatever you want. So this full moon in Libra, first I want to give you a message from Spirit, and that is stay true to yourself, Libra. Stay true to yourself. There's something in this full moon energy about you maybe feeling like you're wavering a little bit. You're having to release maybe a dynamic in a relationship, and it's really important to check in with what's important to you now. Who do you see yourself as now? What are your values? What are your priorities? And stay true to those. And now I'm going to pull a card for you from these. I'm shuffling the cards. I'm going to pull a card from the Cheryl Richardson self-care cards. Okay, so Libras. And your card, Libra, is peace. Embrace your confusion. Let there be peace in not knowing all the answers. If you're feeling confused, if you're feeling like you don't know what is your next direction, if you're feeling torn in two directions or pulled in different directions, if you're having an inner conflict inside, ask Spirit for help. Ask for guidance. At the very least, ask Spirit to help you be peaceful during this time of not knowing. And that will help release any resistance that you might be feeling to being in the dark, so to speak. Okay, Scorpio. Scorpio, this full moon in Libra is happening in your 12th house, your 12th house of retreat, of the subconscious mind, of where you want to pull in, where you are doing some inner healing work, perhaps. It's your dreams, your nighttime dreams, it's your visions, it's out of body experiences, astral travel, and also, you know, your connection to spirit, your mystical self, your higher self connecting to new insights for yourself. So the message I have for you first from Spirit is to open up to a deeper truth. There's a deeper truth that's wanting to come through for you that will be transformational for you. And that it's very important to value yourself right now, to really, really, maybe you make a list of maybe you make a list of who you really are and your strengths and your gifts and your talents, what you love about your spirit. What do you love about your spirit, Scorpio? It's important to connect with that right now. This is your gold. It is your strength. It is what you have to offer others as well. So let's pull a card for you and see what the cards have to say, Scorpios. So the card that came up for you is friendship. And it says, call a friend. When you are mirrored with love, you see yourself clearly. So a lot of times when we have 12th house energy happening, when we have a full moon in the 12th house, we can feel some confusion, some lack of clarity. We can feel like, it can feel like muddy waters. So this card is saying, if you're feeling that, then call a friend. You're not in this alone. You may feel alone, but you're not alone. Not only do you have your higher self and spirit, but call somebody who can support you. And if there isn't a friend that comes to you, then get support from a professional. Okay, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this full moon in Libra is happening in your 11th house. Your 11th house of community, of friendships, of hopes, wishes, and dreams. Your 11th house is where you're very visible in the world, where you want to be social, where you want to really connect with people. And the message that I got for you was receive. Open up to receive, Sag. Let yourself open to a bigger dream. Open to the idea that you could have more in your life. And I mean tangible, physical, comforts of life, but also more inspiration, more enthusiasm, more zest, that joie de vivre that we have when we're really on fire. You can have more of that right now. Maybe you've been through kind of a time where your spirit feels a little bit, not so ignited, not so alive. And if that's true for you, open up to receive more. Ask Spirit to help you receive more. And let's see what the cards have to say. Sag. Oh, this is so perfect for you, Sag. Faith. It says, have faith. Faith grows when you act without knowing the end result. So this is also saying maybe you need to take a risk. Maybe there's something, this goes along with the message earlier from Spirit about opening up to a bigger dream. Oh, widen your vision. If time, money, and resources were not at issue for you, Sagittarius, what would you say yes to? That's an awesome journaling prompt. Okay, Capricorn. Capricorn's this full moon in Libra is happening in your 10th house of legacy, of career, of life purpose. This is what you want to give back to the world. Even if you are retired or retiring, this is how do you want to spend your time? What has meaning for you? And the message from Spirit is that you are on the verge. I love this message. You are on the verge of a new opportunity. You are kind of like, you know, you hike up a mountain and you're not quite to the top. And maybe you're really tired and you don't even know if you want to go to the top. You're kind of like, this is exhausting. I just want to go back to the, I'm just willing. I don't need to see the view. I'm just going to go back down again. But Spirit is saying, no, you're on the verge. You're at the precipice. You are just about to round the corner. Don't give up yet. Don't give up yet. Something is coming to you. Be open to it. Ask for it. Ask for signs. Ask for direction. And let's see what the cards have to say, Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn, it's independence. I love this card so much because of these beautiful butterfly wings. And how synchronistic is that? It's like you're on the verge, you're at the precipice of emerging into the butterfly. Exercise your right to choose, this says. Decide for yourself. Make a decision, Capricorn. Is there a decision you've been putting off? You have a right to choose. You have options, but if you don't decide, the universe is going to decide for you, and you may not like the result. So you're on the verge, but the cards, this card, Spirit, universe is saying, take back your power to make a decision. There is no wrong decision. If you don't like the result of whatever you decide, you can decide again. This is not the only decision you're ever going to make in your life, but you have a right to choose. This is your life. It's your body. It's your spirit. It's your mental space. Take charge. Take charge. Okay. Aquarius. Aquarius, this full moon in Libra is happening in your 9th house. Your 9th house of adventure, spirituality, higher learning, your belief systems. It's a place where we can really open up and let in more faith. And the message from Spirit is, it's time to come out a little bit more or a lot more, you'll know what this means for you, as yourself. Let your freak flag fly. I know I say that a lot with Aquarius, but this is saying it's time to come out even more. It's time to, if you've been holding back, if you've been afraid, say, to speak with someone about your beliefs or how you feel about a specific issue, it's time to let that go. You have the inner strength. You have the courage. You have, we just had that new moon in Aries, fire, which could have fired you up if you let it. It's time to get fired up and drop those fears. You might have deep subconscious fears of being persecuted in your past for a specific belief system that you had. And now it's time to release that, because that was a whole other lifetime. And in this life, you're here to be in your power, and you're here to be your true self, and you're here to, positively influence other people when you are your fired up, courageous self. And remember that you came here to be a voice for change on the planet. You came here to be a voice for good in some way, however you see that. That's what you came here for. That's what your soul decided to do. And this is the time. The time is now, Aquarius. The time is now. So let's see what the cards have to say. Aquarius, my dear Aquarius. Release. She has her head in her knees. There's something emotionally that you need to release. Have a good cry, it says. Grief is a doorway to your deepest self. So this is acknowledging that there may be some grief, some emotions that are there that are keeping you perhaps from coming out even more as your true, sparkling, delightful self, courageous self. Release. Let yourself have a good cry. Let yourself let it go, and then you will feel renewed, I think. And then I think, a lot of times fear, when we're afraid, there's anger underneath it, and we have to let ourselves feel that anger. And when we do express that anger, when we do express it, I like to get in my car and drive and say whatever I need to say. When we do that, then that anger can dissolve into tears. And then when we can dissolve into tears, we can release it and we can start fresh and start new. Okay, Pisces. Pisces, this full moon in Libra is happening in your 8th house, of transformation, of taxes, of taboos, of all the things we tend not to talk about. But it is a time that you might find yourself really going inward, or you might feel stressed. You might feel like this has been a hard time. You might feel exhausted. The message from Spirit for you is retreat. Can you give yourself a retreat? Even if it's just a few hours, even if it's just a day, a few days. Have you been letting yourself have pleasure? Have you been having fun? Have you been giving yourself comforts? Venus is speaking to you. Venus is in Pisces right now. Venus, for this new moon, Venus will be in Pisces, and that is a really good thing. Your sign, and Pisces, Venus in Pisces is saying it's time to bring some more delights back into your life, to give yourself some comforts, because the 8th house, you know, having a full moon in your 8th house can just feel heavy, can feel like a lot. So you have to balance that with comforts and self-love and delights. Okay, so let's pull a card, Pisces. Silence. Rest your mind. Silence is good self-care. So what this tells me is maybe your mind has been going too much, and maybe that's why Spirit is saying you need a retreat. You need a timeout. Allow yourself to have a timeout so you can rest. Rest your mind. Okay. Aries. Aries, this is such your time. We just had the new moon in Aries. I'm wondering if you're feeling fired up. I'm wondering if you're feeling excited. Let me know. Leave me a comment below. But this full moon in Libra is happening in your 7th house of partnerships. So you will probably be feeling this, Aries. Given that it's a Libra partnership full moon ruled by Venus, and this is all committed partnerships for you, the 7th house, where the full moon is happening. And what came up for me is a question for you. Have you been feeling impatient? Have you been feeling like things aren't moving quickly enough for you? Like, you know, you have an agenda and you're feeling stalled in some way. If that's true, Spirit's saying give yourself some self-nurturing, because it's not all about the end result, even though, believe me, I have Mars in Aries. I want to get there too. Like, I can really relate to you, Aries, but you know, we're always going to have a new mountain to climb. We're always going to have a new destination, and everything is happening in divine perfect timing. Everything is happening in divine perfect order for you. So in the meantime, if you do feel impatient, if you do feel like things are not happening for you quickly enough, in the meantime, give yourself some self-nurturing, and let's see what the cards have to say for Aries. Aries. Self-love. Beautiful card. Care for your body. Self-love and self-acceptance are the ultimate acts of self-care. Okay, Taurus. Taurus, this full moon in Libra is happening in your 6th house of work, of your everyday routines, what you do repeatedly over and over. The 6th house is also your health, your nutrition, your exercise routines, how you take care of yourself. So the message I got for you, Taurus, from Spirit was be willing to set boundaries. Oh, so much fun. We all love setting boundaries. But that was the message that came through for you. Taurus, you have things you want to accomplish. You have, you know, with the solar eclipse coming in your sign, you probably have something, a change that you want to accomplish, something that you want to do, some up-leveling of your life. And this is where boundaries are going to be important, because you don't want your energy leaking. You want to have the time, the energy, the resources, everything you need to accomplish what is coming in next for you. So boundaries. So let's see what the cards have to say. Taurus. Ooh, Taurus, I love this card. Power. Look at the lightning striking, the lightning coming through. Wow. This to me says you are really, it says own your power. So how perfect is that with boundaries? Whenever we have a Pluto aspect with the full moon, like we do with this full moon, it's all about power. If you've been having a power struggle with someone, or if this comes up during the full moon, or you just feel powerless in some way or helpless to make a change, this is saying own your power. What do you have power over? Where do you have choices? Can you have a conversation with somebody? Can you be a little bit more assertive? Can you, with dignity and self-respect, ask for what you need? Every storm brings a fresh new beginning. So if you feel a storm during this full moon, it is bringing a fresh new beginning for you, and it will happen even more quickly if you own your power. Okay. Gemini, my fellow Geminis, Gemini sun. This is happening in your 5th house. Your 5th house. Now, I know I said it was happening in my 4th house, but that's because I have Cancer rising. So you always want to listen for your rising and your sun and your moon, because again, that like rounds out the picture for you. So the 5th house, Gemini, is true love, romance. Did you see the sparkle in my eye when I said romance? Children and creativity. The 5th house is fun. It's where we let ourselves have fun. Have you been letting in enough fun, Gemini? Because I know I haven't. I'll fully admit it. Like, I need more fun. I want more adventure. The 5th house is where we let loose and we give ourselves something that lights us up, something that makes us feel delighted. So this is your message from Spirit. Let in the fun, have an adventure. Everything else will still be there for you when you're done with your adventure. But if you keep just plodding along, maybe you're working really hard, if you just keep doing that, then you are going to, and it's interesting because I don't know if you can hear the sirens in the background, but there's a bunch of sirens going off. And to me, that means, like, for some of you, you may like need an emergency, what do you call it? An emergency, like, I can't think of the word, darn it. Like intervention around fun and adventure, because you just haven't given that to yourself. You may be feeling so focused and ambitious on a goal right now. I know I felt that way with my YouTube channel, just like I really need to just keep plodding. But that can just take your spark and your lightness and just like drown it out. So you need to have balance, my beautiful Geminis. I don't like it when people tell me what I need, so I apologize for that. You don't need to do anything, but I highly encourage you to bring that balance into your life if it's lacking. And let's see what the cards have to say, Gemini. For Geminis. Oh, this is such a beautiful card. Magnificence. Own your magnificence, beautiful, sparkling Gemini. The world needs your brilliance and grace. The world needs your brilliance and your grace. So no matter what you're doing, whether it's fun, whether it's adventure, whether it's work, you have brilliance and grace that you are bringing to the world. And I know as a Gemini myself, we can so easily forget that. We can so easily just feel like we always have to prove ourselves. We always have to be more. You are enough. It's just about seeing yourself and seeing your brilliance and grace. And I want to tell you that this is what I do when I coach my clients, is help them. I hold up a believing mirror to you and I show you what I see in you through your astrology chart or just through our interactions through coaching, so that you can fully own that. So if you'd like that support, it's here for you. Check out my website, links, and my services. Happy full moon in Libra, Geminis. Okay, Cancers. Cancers, I have a Cancer moon and rising. This full moon in Libra is happening in your 4th house, my Cancer family. 4th house of home, of family. So this is your family of origin as well as your family that you have created, family with your pets, even if you don't have children, and your inner self. It's where our mind can just go off. It can loop. Not fun. Cancer, the message from Spirit for you was you may be feeling very sensitive right now, super sensitive with all these planets right now in Pisces, which is like your sister sign, in water, and then you have water, you know, you have your sun in water, whatever your moon, your rising. You may just feel kind of like waterlogged right now, just submerged in the water, and not fully grounded and present in your body, which can make you feel like just not as in touch with reality. And it also could mean that you're giving too much. You're giving away too much. You're not receiving what you're giving out, and you can feel an imbalance with that. That can make you feel frustrated and angry too. So the message from Spirit is stand your ground in any of your relationships. Stand your ground, speak your truth. You have needs, your needs. It's important to meet your own needs. Be your inner advocate, have your own back, and you will reap great rewards from that. Great rewards from that. And your inner child, I still have sirens going off in the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but your inner child may just be needing like some emergency resuscitation, some help, some love, some care, some TLC from you, saying, you are the most important thing in my life, inner child. You are the most important thing. You're my priority, and I'm going to care for you in ways that maybe other people in your life aren't, but that's okay. You can give that to your inner child. Beautiful, Cancer. Okay, so the cards have to say for Cancer. Cancer. Ooh, so this full moon is going to bring you a revelation. Ask for it. Intend that you receive a revelation, a breakthrough. It says, listen to your life. The right path will reveal itself. So this is about trust too. Trusting that the right path is revealing itself. I love that she's next to water. There's a path that's like the water is breaking to reveal the path. You may want to spend some time around water during this full moon. So good for Cancers. So good for us. Okay, happy full moon in Libra, Cancer. All right, Leos. Leos, this full moon in Libra is happening in your third house of communication, of the mind. The third house is also siblings. The third house is neighbors. It's everything in your immediate environment, your close environment. It's also where you do your kind of everyday routines, where you go, if you go to the gym or you go to a yoga studio or where you buy your groceries, farmer's market, and so on. It's everyone in your immediate vicinity. And the message from Spirit for you was, say what you need to say. You know the song by John Mayer? Say what you need to say. Okay, I didn't do that in the right pitch or tone or whatever you call it. But I love that song so much. Listen to that song, Say What You Need to Say by John Mayer. It's such a beautiful song, and it's like repeats over and over. Say what you need to say. Say what you need to say. There's something here about you expressing your heart, expressing your needs, expressing your truth, that will bring you into a new sense of power and a new sense of that you have control over your life, that you can take charge of your life, and that you're not going to be hurt by you taking, Leo, you guys are fire signs. Some of you can be shy. It's kind of a myth, I think, that all Leos are like out there on stage and, super gregarious. A lot of you are, but not all Leos are. Especially if you've had some experience in your life that have caused you to pull in and dim your light. But saying what you need to say, whether it's in a close one-on-one relationship or whether it's with, a group of people or whether it's at work, is going to bring you back into your power. It's going to bring you back into your power. So let's see what the cards have to say, Leo. Leos, for Leos. Rejuvenation. Get a good night's sleep. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and spirit. So this is either about sleeping or about some form of self-care that's important for you, Leo. And if you can take a retreat, this is such a beautiful card. She's laying right by the ocean in some beautiful mansion. It looks pretty good to me. If you can do something for yourself, even if it's a brief time out or getting away, that will be so good for your spirit, Leo. Happy full moon. Okay. Virgo, this is happening, this full moon in Libra, in your second house of income. It's also your values, it's your self-worth, it's your self-esteem. And the message from Spirit was, do you feel like you don't have enough money? Is there some area of lack? Do you have fears about money? The message was, you are in a building phase. Like, have faith. Draw that faith down from all these Pisces planets right now that are saying, you may be feeling tired. You may be feeling like you don't have enough energy to earn more money, or that just like, I got the word hopeless just now. For some of you, that may be the case, but know that you are building, and that it's okay to just get quiet and receive new guidance. Receive new guidance. Like if there's a part of you that feels like you're maybe panicking, or that you've got, like your mind is just going and says, we've got to figure this out, got to figure this out. Instead of trying to figure it out in your head, let all that Pisces energy take you into your body, take you into your heart, so you can get a download, you can get some inspiration on as far as your next step. But things are better than you think they are, is the message I got. And that remember that you, Virgo, you are enough. You are enough just as you are. Your circumstances do not equal you or who you are. Anything in your life that feels off is not you. You are a beautiful being of light, of love, of inspiration to others. You have a lot to offer. You have great earning ability, and you are enough. For those of you who would like a personal reading, if you would like to get into your natal astrology chart, you want to see what is the map of your soul's blueprint the moment you took your first breath, and you want to know what are the current astrology transits that are affecting your life, your goals, your dreams, your circumstances, and perhaps there's a transit going on or something going on in your life that's been really difficult. You want to know when it's ending, but you also want to know how you can move forward, how you can create what your heart desires. Then definitely book a personal consultation with me. You can do that directly on my website, schedule it there. And for those of you who would like a deeper dive support, transformational support, where you can cause a breakthrough for yourself, with the support of a believing mirror and a confidant and somebody who is trained in coaching and has been doing it for many, many years, go to my website and check out my Soul Alchemy coaching as well, which you can also book directly online. And I want to thank you so much for your time, your presence, and your energy, for being here with me. Leave me a comment. I absolutely love your comments. It means so much to me when you comment. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your like, for sharing these videos with others so they can benefit as well. And so this video can go out into suggested videos on YouTube. And subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Your subscribes really help my channel grow. I send you all my gratitude and love, and thank you for that as well. And I have a free gift for you. The free gift that I have for you is a guided meditation, Returning Home to Yourself. You can get it by going to my website, sign up for my inspirational updates, and you will get an instant download of my free gift, meditation, Returning Home to Yourself. I'm wishing you the most beautiful Libra full moon, sending you all my love.